And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're taking a look at a game called Dragons from Bruno Faidutti. Talk about a extremely unoriginal name. It's Dragons. Whatever. It should be called like Dragon's Loot or Loot of the Dragon. I don't know. There should be something. But in this game, you are a dragon and you're collecting loot. You're going to be making just a few decisions over the course of this game. Basically to add a card to a pile of loot or to take a pile of loot. This is something that's been done in a lot of other games. Here it's distilled down to a very simple core, taking one of several piles or adding a card to one of them. That's it. And you're going to make this choice several times over the course of the game, and it's a very simple game, which means, you know, with a game that has this kind of decision making, I might sit there and go, is there enough in the game to justify it? Well, let's find out. A deck of cards is broken up into 3 or 4 piles depending on the number of players, and each round one of these piles is going to be placed in the middle of the table, and you'll draw a card basically equal to the number of players. So if we're playing 4 players, we'll flip over 4 cards like that. You can see these cards, various things. We got coins and a helmet and weapons and a ring here. Each player is going to have a large dragon that represents them. And so on your turn, you have one option. You can draw a card and add it to a pile. So maybe I will draw this card here, a food, and put it on this pile. And players will take turns adding it to whatever pile they want. So as the game goes by and players are adding the different things to different piles, on your turn, instead of doing that, you can say, that pile is mine. So you'll place your dragon here. And once everyone except one person has chosen a pile, so let's say, for example, the next player does this, the next player does that, this player claims that pile, and then we put this one here, and this one here, and this one here, and then this one also goes here, and then this player claims this one. The last player gets all these cards. In fact, you have to take all those cards. That's it. That's a round. You'll then take these cards and put them face up in front of you, kind of in groups. So this would show that I get 4 coins. This would show here that I have this crown, and here I have 3 food from these 3 delicious sheep. You then bring in the next pile of cards and do the same thing. And after you've done this 3 or 4 times, again, depending on the number of piles, everyone is going to keep score with the score sheet. So how do you get points for everything? The first thing that happens is players are going to look how much food that they've gotten. And the player with the fewest animals is eliminated from the game. They can't win. And a 5 to 6 player game, it's the fewest cows and the fewest sheep. So there's going to be 2 players eliminated from the game. After that, players are going to count up their coins. Each coin is worth a point. So here I have 5 points. Then players will see who has the most gems of both the blue gems and the pink gems, and 12 points for whoever has the most. 1 ring is worth 7 points. 2 is worth 0, so only get 1. A set of armor gets you 10 points. So here you can see I have 3 helmets, 2 shields, and 3 swords. So that's 2 whole sets of armor. That's 20 points. The crown, scepters, bracelet, and necklaces give me 10 points if I have 3 of them. So here I have 3 necklaces, but I only have 2 scepters, so just 10 points. And then the polish, each one is worth points equal to the number you have. So I have 2 of them, so they're each worth 2 points, so this is a total of 4 points. That's it. Whoever has the most points is the winner. Although you can play a variant where you play multiple years, go through this several times. And there's also a variant where you can draw 2 cards and play the card of your choice each round, rather than just draw the top card from the deck and put it out. But that's how you play. The game comes with some reference cards that just tell you how many points, how many piles, things like that. Very simple cards. They're okay in remembering what the points are. Although once you play the game, it's pretty easy. The game comes with these gigantic dragons. I mean, it's funny, you know, basically how much the cost of this game went into these dragons, which have a front and a back. So that's pretty funny. But wow, I mean, these are literally just put on a pile to claim it. That's a lot of the production is used up in those. The cards themselves all the different cards are pretty easy to tell apart. The card quality is okay. It's a very bright finish. I would have preferred a linen finish on these myself, but the white borders makes it easy to shuffle and mess around with. It would have been, I think, useful maybe on the reference cards to tell you how many of each card is in the set, because that does come into play the tighter the game gets. But overall, everything fits very easily into this box here, and it does have a very nice little scoring sheet where it's really easy just to write down all the scores. I like this scoring sheet. Is very detailed considering I think how simple scoring is. There you go, that's Dragons. Now, Dragons to me I found to be extremely entertaining because of its length. If Dragons was maybe 10 minutes longer, I would not like it. Now, the box says 30 minutes. Honestly, it's probably closer to 20. It is not a very long game. And I wouldn't even play with the variants where you can play extra games or the cards. It's just pretty simple. Take a card, put it on a pile. There's a little bit of memory involved, and you can play where the cards are spread out, so there is no memory, so you can see what cards go in what pile. But I'd rather have that little bit of memory involved in the game, and you're adding stuff to piles. So you're sitting there trying to get points. So there's a couple things. You got a ring. You don't want any more rings. So that's an easy thing. Food. Food's not worth points, but if you don't have enough food, you lose the game. So you're always thinking, do I have enough food? And you can see what's in front of everybody, so you can say, okay, I have the most food, so this round I don't need to worry about food so much. Having the most gems, kind of an area control thing, getting a lot of polish. I mean, there's nothing really in the game that's like, what? This is new. I mean, nothing. It's just simply add a card to a pile or take that whole pile. And yet, I enjoy it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I was very tense. As you get down to the end, you're like, do I add a card or take this pile? All right, I'll add one more card. Oh, they took the pile. You know, there's that back and forth. There's this kind of quiet rising. At the beginning, you're throwing cards out. Probably no one's going to grab a pile early on. But as time goes by, you're sitting there going, okay, I actually want to grab a pile because I don't want all the cards in the middle. But if you grab a pile too early, you can give your opponents a ton of cards. I've seen sometimes where the fourth player cows the other player so much that they sit there and they're like, I got to take this pile now. And then the fourth player's like, yeah, and I get all the rest of the cards, which could be devastatingly powerful. So, yes, it takes scoring that's done in other games. Some cards are straight points. Some cards you have the most of. Some cards, have that pyramid multiplying thing. And, you need the most food. Again, I can't pinpoint anything in here, including theme, that's different and unique. And yet it comes together in a nice package in what we call a filler game, something you play between other things, something you play while you're waiting for everyone to show up for the main game. Dragons is never going to be the main game of the night, I don't think. But it is an entertaining, quick way to pass some time, and I thought it was a lot of fun. I just wish it had a better name. That's Dragons. Dice Tower Judgment approved.